What's TRT?
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Got
So
it.
it's straight to, it's not steroids. Everyone's like, oh, steroids. It's a testosterone to get you to levels where your body would normally be at.
Because let's
Normally be
clear.
at that age?
Let's be clear.
or-
It is steroids. It's just not steroid use. You're getting a doctor, an endocrinologist, to analyze your profile, and then he or she will provide you with the adequate amount of testosterone to get you to a healthy level.
When you say healthy level, you could say, you know what, I want to have the testosterone of a 35-year-old.
Yeah.
And they could,
Yeah.
oh, so they could hit it by age or whatever.
Yeah. what do
I
you wanna be
just
at?
went in for like my first I'm not on TRT, but I started investigating the idea of getting on it right before the lockdown, and so I'm still not, but I'm
But this
thinking about
there's
it.
this weird kind of stigma with TRT. So let's say Chin's deficient in vitamin C or Chin's deficient in some other vitamin. You would take a supplement
Yes.
to get your levels normal.
Yes.
Well, testosterone is no different, especially dudes after 30, especially if you've had a background in sports, your testosterone is going to go down. I mean, it goes down. So you're talking about depression, energy levels, muscle mass. It affects your physical being, your mental being, everything. So why wouldn't you take something to get you up to normal levels?
What's the difference then between, again, I have no idea. You guys may, obviously this may be stupid questions, but what are the things like when I hear about HGH and peptides, do they do the same thing as the
Go ahead,
TRT?
Mike. Take it from there.
The HGH. Look, testosterone is one sexual hormone within the male and female body, but predominantly in the male body. Human growth hormone and IGF-1, they're separate.
What's
hormones.
IGF-1?
Insulin growth factor. Okay. So they both kind of run in the same crew.
They're brothers.
And you can manipulate human growth hormone and testosterone simultaneously to help get you back to a healthier, more vibrant way. There's also
little caveat about it. I don't mean to interrupt you. Little caveat about HGH though. So the one thing that's scary about HGH to me, which is one of the reasons, I'm not opposed to it, but let's say you have a dormant cell that's cancerous.
Yeah.
Well, HGH doesn't pick and choose when it's going to grow and multiply.
So
very good point.
So my family, for me, for example, my family and I've had a bunch of moles already removed from my body, right? So that would be something that I probably shouldn't come close to HGH because
No, I don't think it's going to fuck with your moles.
well, the mole is cancerous, right? So you have it's like a melon.
it recreates growth of cells, and
No
I
matter
would
good or bad
listen.
cells.
That's what I mean. So
Obviously,
those are-
obviously talk to an oncologist, but
Right.
things like there's been problems, especially in the world of bodybuilding stuff, with kidney tumors and stomach
but also
problems.
power gut. Like when you notice bodybuilders when they flex and you're like, God, he's jacked, but there's like a gut.
Turtle shell.
That's
Turtle shell.
turtle shell. That's because the HGH again, it doesn't pick and choose just to grow the good stuff. It's going to grow your liver, your kidney, your heart.
There is something to that though.
What?
That comes with
It grows
HGH.
your
That comes with
organs?
HGH abuse.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
if you look
Yeah.
at there's plenty of pro bodybuilders standing on the Mr. Olympia stage at the peak that still have tight little waists. Some of these guys are using
They overdo it.
preposterous levels.
Their heads grow, too,
and
though.
you see
Their
the guys
heads
with
grow.
the big heads and jaws and the big weird kind of deformed face and.
I will tell you, for me, as I've gotten older, the one thing I've learned about, I was always, for years, I was like, I'm in great shape, but why does it feel like I'm bloated all the time? And what I found for me, anyways, just as me, it was 100%, there were things that I was eating that was causing inflammation in my intestines, in my gut. So it was pure inflammation. It wasn't gas because it never came out. I was causing swelling inside my body.
Right.
And when I stopped eating those things, it completely flattened out. I didn't change anything else.
Yep.
It just completely took away the bloat. 100%.
There's a lot to that, and I always am wary of the holistic hippie stuff, and they'll tell you if you eat dairy, you're guaranteed this level of inflammation. Reality is not true. Every human's so wildly different, but there's a lot to be said about the fact that certain foods are gonna fuck with you and certain foods aren't, and inflammation and bloating is a real thing, and that's why I'm not a carnivore guy, but I do see the big value to this meat only diet is that's the one thing that the Homo sapien doesn't seem to have any bloating or inflammation
Is
to.
with meat
And so
like
if you
that?
can go maybe a couple weeks at just resorting to eating nothing but meat, it gives you a chance to kind of understand what you are putting in your body when you start adding things back, because that's
Dr. Drew's jacked. Is he TRT?
Super jacked.
He
is
TRT?
jacked. He can't because he had prostate cancer.
Oh, so he's just naturally jacked.
And he's always been jacked, but also Dr. Drew does train like a maniac. He has a gym at his house, and I've pumped iron with him a couple of times. Dr. Drew is a passionate meathead.
Savage.
Really?
Loves to
He's the
pump iron.
smartest meathead on the block.
I love that, man. I have done so much experimenting with what I put in my body, like, and how I went pure. I told you this last time I was on, and Callan was here, where I went vegan for 3 months, and I just ate beans, greens, nuts, and seeds because I wanted to strip my body and then put things back one at a time to see how I felt. It was fascinating that some things that I thought were good for me
they didn't mix well with you.
weren't good for me, and I just was never putting my finger on those things.
Interesting.
But for me, it's just like you said, 100%. When I read diet books and all this stuff, it's such bullshit because all three of our machines are different.
How about when I get off stage at the Laugh Factory, right away you go, bro, I figure out what you look like. I'm like, what? This is from a bunch of other comics. I'm like, what? You're like, you look like a Rottweiler who got his shit together.
Oh, you do, bro. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, dude.
Grab that mic, son.
You do, bro. Look.